Okay, well, it is January in Oklahoma, and we are expecting our first rather significant winter freeze over the weekend. We're supposed to have like anywhere from 4 to 7 days of very, very cold temperatures. I believe the high on Monday, or the low, excuse me, is 1. The high, I think, is 15. So it's going to get extremely cold for our part of the country. For you guys up north, this is nothing, but for us, it gets pretty cold. So we are in the middle of prepping all of that. We've got all of our water hydrants and greenhouse space and stuff shut off and buttoned up and warmed up and covered and all that. So the last step is getting things set up for the cows. Whitney went earlier today to Random Okie Farms and picked up a couple hay bales from them. I'll show you that here.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to be in that bucket. What's in there? I don't think that's for you. Hey, get out of there. That's not for you. That's not for you. You're soft. Be my friend? Be my friend? Would you quit?
he's back, we need to unload them. And I picked a spot kind of down in a lower area back by the back pond that's hopefully out of the wind, so they'll have a windbreak and a good safe spot that's sheltered from the elements where they can get in and get some good roughage. We will be supplementing the cows with a little bit of their honey grain ration too, just to kind of make this as easy as possible on them. They're herd animals, they're used to being outside. This is not really a big deal for them, but I do want to have some things in place to make the next several days as easy as possible. So we've got hay for them, they've got access to fresh water. We have a plan in place if the pond starts freezing. We'll put a metal trash can, like a metal burn barrel basically, out in the waterways and just keep a fire lit in that, so it will keep the water melted, and the cows will have access to fresh water regardless of how cold it gets. So that's kind of what we're working on this afternoon. Whitney got all the wood split for in the house, groceries are bought, and really the only other things that we have to do this weekend are just kind of hunker down and lay low until this storm system passes. So fingers crossed it's uneventful and things go as planned. Look what we got you, Muscle Man. Sure it'd be nice if we had our tractor. Watch out, girl. She's rubbing her head on it. The salad bar has arrived. What is all over her head? What is that? Is that mud? Let me see. It is mud. You rolling in the mud? I think if you get up here, it's just off balance enough. I think if you pull it, oh, or that too. It doesn't help that they're pushing up against it. Girls.
Hey. Oh.
And there you go. Oh, good head scratches. Oh, yeah. And this right here is why you need a hay ring, because they will make a mess. Really? Oh my God. You fruitcake. This is for you to eat, not for you to play in. Yeah, they're just, we need to go get that ring.
Let's go get that.
You mean to stay here and keep them off it while you go get it? Because this will be everywhere.
How are you gonna get off? You want a stick? Hey.
Don't kick her. She's just excited. It's okay. We've got two for now. Hey. Ooh. She kicked at you. Rude. We did get a little stuck. The farm truck is not four-wheel drive and it's wet. So we're about 6 inches deep in mud and we had to call somebody to come help pull us out. So, fun times. Dana. What are you doing? Django. Django. Are you a bad dog? Huh? Name. Woof. Are you a good boy? Yeah. Good boy. If you've followed our channel for any length of time, you may have noticed that we have been a little absent in the last couple months. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You're about to get a whole load of information that you might not have been prepared for, but regardless, here's what it is. December 11th, we got a diagnosis for me that we weren't really expecting. I have spent all summer and most of the fall with some stomach issues going on that we've kind of been delving into, trying to figure out what's going on. Kind of discounted a lot of things, and I'll get into that in a minute. But December 11th, we found out that I have colon cancer, and it's stage 4. It's been a very scary, just the path that's laid in front of us. We don't really know what direction it's going to take, and we have young kids. Our children are 10, 8, and 6, so trying to navigate a medical diagnosis like that while trying to keep normalcy for your family and trying to run a business and keep the farm going and work both of our full-time jobs on top of that has been a lot. So that's why we have not been as present on YouTube as we would have liked to be. But what I can tell you is I am in the middle of receiving treatment for it. I had a colon resection surgery on January 5th, where they went in and took out the main tumor mass that's on my colon. It was restricting basically just normal body function. So that was the first step in beginning treatment for me, is getting that taken out. I'm 6 days post-surgery on that, so I'm still moving pretty slow. I still have a lot of pain and discomfort. Getting up from seated and getting up from laying down in bed is still hard for me, but each day is getting a little bit better. The surgery went as well as possible. The surgeon that did everything, he was wonderful. We felt super comfortable with him. He did everything through robotics, so it wasn't an open surgery. He could go in and kind of just do minimal stuff with this, basically like an octopus robot. It was kind of cool. When they took me back there, I could see it in the corner. It has all these different arms that would go through different spots in my abdomen and help him remove the tumor and all the bad tissue that was there. Part of that surgery did involve removing the lymph nodes and the tissue around that part in my colon, because the tumor had grown out into the fatty tissue and surrounding tissue of that part of my body. So they were able to resect all of that and reattach the good part of my colon to my rectum. So thankfully I do not have to have a colostomy bag. That said, I am still really sore, and they took about a foot of my colon out, so you can imagine what that does to the body. But I'm taking it really slow, kind of one day at a time. The plan at the end of this month, I have appointments at MD Anderson. It's a cancer research facility in Houston, and we're getting a second opinion there. We have a wonderful oncologist locally that's going to work with us on whatever it is that we need. But we wanted to go down there and really have somebody that's an expert in their field kind of delve into what's going on in my body and what type of cancer and what genetic markers this particular type of cancer has for me and what that might mean. So end of this month we'll have 2 days worth of appointments down there. They're gonna look at just from what I understand at this point, the basic standard of care for someone with colon cancer is a chemotherapy treatment called FOLFIRINOX. I don't know if that's what they will recommend for me. Again, I have had my surgical pathology sent off for genetic markers to see if there's an additional type of medication or additional type of chemotherapy that I might benefit from on top of the FOLFIRINOX. But the end of this month, we will be at MD Anderson in Houston, speaking to a group of oncologists and a whole oncology team to figure out what the best route is to get me fixed up. What's really encouraging is that even though I'm stage 4, colon cancer is the only type of cancer that they still consider completely curable, even at stage 4. So that's really amazing. And the fact that I'm young, I'm 37, and I'm healthy. I mean, I exercise daily, I eat well, I take care of my body. We have a lot of really good things going for me. The direction that I want to take this, either whether it be YouTube or just my own personal social media pages, if I can help somebody else that's going through some of the things that I've gone through and improve their situation or their diagnosis or whatever, that's what I want to do. So I want to talk for a minute about kind of how we got here, and what I noticed in my body. If you want to listen, great. If this is not for you, that's totally fine too. But the symptoms I had were really not individually, they were not anything that were like, oh my gosh, something's really wrong. So for me, over the summer, again, this is January 2024, so really probably May, June 2023, we were in the middle of really ramping up what we've got going on the farm, trying to find a full-time employee. We had a lot going on personally, professionally. The kids were busy with baseball, softball, so we had a lot on our plates, and I kept having this recurring stomach pain, stomach just discomfort. I was bloated a lot, and I kept just pushing it aside. I don't have time to deal with that right now. I've got this, I've got other things to do. I just suck it up and deal with it. And by the time I started really paying attention to what was going on, I really felt like the pain, discomfort, and bloating coincided with my menstrual cycle. So in my mind, I'm going, okay, I'm approaching 40. It's probably hormones. It's, I'll just deal with it. And it would be 2 or 3 days at a time where I'd have stomach cramps where I'd have to go lay down in the middle of my work day, and then they'd go away. I'd lay with a heating pad, or I'd just lay and take a nap, and it'd be fine 2, 3, 4 hours later. So I didn't really think anything of it. And then for a while I was like, well, I need to watch my diet. Maybe I'm eating too much dairy. Maybe I'm developing, it's a coffee machine. Maybe I'm developing an intolerance to something. So I started really charting what I was eating. No correlation to any, there was no significant information from that. And all summer long, it was just kind of touch and go. I'd have a few days here and there where my stomach would really hurt, and I'd be really bloated for 2-3 weeks at a time, and then I'd be fine. And I had one instance over the summer where I had a bowel movement, and there was a significant amount of blood in the toilet bowl, to the point where I called Whitney in and I said, hey, this freaks me out. I don't know what to do. Should we call? And he called our local emergency room, and they said, it can be a number of things. Just keep an eye on it. If it happens again in a 24-hour period, you might want to come in. If not, just follow up with your primary care provider. It's probably something minimal. Just call and ask. And I thought, okay, fine. Never happened again. Of course, life got busy. I've got 3 kids. I've got the farm. At that point, by the time that happened, I was looking at going back to work in teaching. So I just let it go. And I really didn't have any other issues that were notably like, oh my gosh, this is a red flag between then and October. In mid-October, I had a weekend where it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and 2 out of those 3 nights, I was in debilitating stomach pain, like to the point where, like all night, I was up to and from the bathroom, not producing anything that would give me any sort of relief. And again, TMI, I'm sorry, but I was desperate for anything at that point. Heating pad wouldn't help, changing positions wouldn't help. I hadn't eaten anything unusual. I hadn't, it wasn't food poisoning. It wasn't a dairy issue because my sister is sensitive to dairy, and it wasn't anything like that. And I'm not kidding you. I was up from probably 8, 9 o'clock at night all the way until 5 in the morning, just bent over with horrible stomach pain. And the best way I can describe it is it felt like gas pain, and it would crest and fall almost like a contraction. I've had 3 kids, so I know what that feels like. So it would start, it would get really bad, and at that point I would feel like I'd need to be in the bathroom, and I would get nauseous, I would be sweating, I would be breathing heavy at that point, and then it would kind of fall off and get better and go away, and then I'd be able to lay back down in bed with a heating pad, hoping that it wouldn't return. And I had 2 nights worth of that. And that Monday morning, I told Whitney, I said, I can't do another night like this. I have to call the doctor. So I went in that following Monday, and he said, there's so many issues that it could be with his stomach problem. Let's just start going down that rabbit hole. And they did some blood work. They did a urology on me. My blood work came back kind of off, but not significantly. So they did a abdominal x-ray to make sure there wasn't a blockage. There wasn't one. And then they sent me over for a CT and an MRI of my abdomen. And in doing that, they found a lesion on my liver that was suspicious. No conclusive evidence if it was a hematoma or if it was something more, but all the evidence pointed to, we can't rule out if this is a malignancy or possible metastatic disease. So we kind of started looking at the liver, what's wrong with the liver. During that same month, I was actually due for my annual woman exam. So I went to see my gynecologist. She said, well, why don't we do a pelvic CT and see if there's anything going on there. They did an ultrasound. Everything there looked normal. Blood work for that came back normal. So about a month later, I was still having the same stomach pain, and I had talked to my cousin and my aunt kind of off and on. And my cousin, about 2 years ago, had been diagnosed with colon cancer. He was 39 or 40 at the time, very unexpected. His biggest symptom was blood in the stool, and I had only had 1 instance of that. And I said, told my doctor about it. I said, I don't know if this is anything that could be related, but I do have a family history here. His biggest symptom was blood in the stool. He had some stomach pain, but nothing like what I'm experiencing. And he said, well, while we're going down this route, before I send you over to GI for further testing, let's just see if there's something on a colonoscopy that would come up. And I had a colonoscopy December 11th, and they could not even pass the scope all the way through my colon to see everything because I had such a significant mass on my sigmoid colon that was blocking everything. So immediately then my surgeon came back, talked to Whitney, and said, hey, there is something there, and it is cancer. We're sending it off to pathology. And that same day I had brand new CT of my abdomen, my pelvis, and my lungs. I had a brand new MRI of everything. They had missed everything prior to on the scans because they had only been looking at my abdomen for that spot on my liver. They hadn't been looking at my colon. That's kind of where we are, and that's why we have been pretty absent on YouTube. What I would ask for during this time, please respect the privacy of my family. We're working through a lot. And I know many of you have questions and you want to support us and you want to offer prayers and just support in any way that you see fit, and we welcome that. But I will tell you, we will probably be a little slow on responding to comments. Our content will probably be a little slow in posting the next few months. We're still trying to figure out kind of what the farm needs to look like for this coming spring and summer. We've got a plan. It's just going to be different than what we would want. So if I could ask for your respect during this time, if you are the praying type or the sending good vibes type or I don't think we can